Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing with you a video that was actually footage taken over the course of several days. This is the first time in all of my treatments that I have tested out my trigger shot. I know, that's crazy. Everybody does it. I've never done it. So now I have. I hope that this is helpful for some of you all. I know when you're taking early pregnancy tests, sometimes it's like, oh, is that still the trigger? And I think that's what's deterred me from taking early tests in previous cycles. So here's the verdict. This is how it worked for me, and hopefully it helps some of you all as well. So here you go, testing out the trigger shot. Put it on a necklace, keeping it 'cause I know that it's mine. I wear it like a message, so I don't forget it. Keeping it 'cause I know that it's mine. I know that it's mine. Okay guys, so here is my test from 1 day past the trigger shot, and you can definitely see a second line there. I wish it was real, right? And I am using, for your reference, the Wandfo pregnancy test. You can get like 25 of these for like $11.99 on Amazon, so I will link that below. If you've never used them, a lot of people call them the cheapies, because they're a lot cheaper than what you could buy at the store. Of course, they're probably not quite as sensitive, but then again, I've heard other friends saying that they're more sensitive. So it's just you and your body. So yeah, guys, this is my test at 1 day past the trigger. I took it yesterday morning about 9:30, and it is about 9:30 today. So here is the result. We will see how long this stays in my system, but it is definitely there today, which I guess makes me feel good that the trigger shot did work. The medication was good. So yeah, I will check back in tomorrow. Okay, so here is 2 days past the trigger shot. Definitely still a very prominent line there. I will go ahead and put yesterday's down for comparison. Of course, that one's dry and this one's not. And I will check back in tomorrow. Here is my test from 3 days past the trigger shot, and as you can see, there's still a line, but it is significantly lighter than the other days. There's a dent in this test as well, which that happens sometimes, but it's in between the two lines, so you can still tell what it is. Now let's compare 1 day, 2 day, and 3 day. You can tell there's still a line, but it is definitely lighter, so we're getting there. I'll check back tomorrow. Here is my test for 4 days past the trigger shot. I will go ahead and put it up here so that we can compare it. And it actually looks a little bit darker than yesterday, but that's probably just a discrepancy in the test or the amount of concentration at the time that it was taken. It was taken in the morning the same time, but who knows, I could have drank more or whatever. So there is 1, 2, 3, and 4 days past, and I will check back tomorrow. Okay, here is my test from 5 days past the trigger shot. It is significantly lighter. It was taken first thing in the morning, but I did get up to use the bathroom 2 times in the night, so that might be a reason why. We'll just have to see. Let me go ahead and move it up to compare it to our others. And yeah, definitely getting lighter. 5 days past. Here is my test for 6 days past the trigger shot. I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up, but in person there is definitely still a line, although it is very faint. Yeah, it's not wanting to zoom in. All right, here we go. Slowly but surely, it is fading out. Still a faint line, but we will check back tomorrow. Here is my test for 7 days past the trigger shot. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there is a faint line there still. I'll give it a minute to focus. There is definitely a faint line. I'm not sure if you can see it, but we're almost there, I believe. Here's the comparison for you. We're getting lighter, but there still is a line. Here is my test at 8 days past the trigger shot. I thought for sure today it would be totally negative, but it's not. In person, there is a faint line, and that came up within the 5-minute time frame. I even set my timer and everything this time just to make sure that I caught it in the time frame. And there is still a line. I don't think my camera can see it, but it's there. Here's the comparison. We are almost there, but really not quite. So I guess that shows you that if you do test early, there is a chance it's still your trigger if you did a trigger shot, because today I would be 7 DPO. And I know people that have taken tests that early. I usually don't. And there's a faint line there. So if you saw that, you could think, oh, that's something. And it's really just your trigger. So be curious to see. Hopefully in 9 days it's out. I would think so, because that'd be 8 DPO. And I know people take tests then. So we'll check back tomorrow. Here's my test for 9 days past the trigger shot. And I wanted to call this negative, but I swear in real life there is still a faint line. So I don't know. I'll test again tomorrow and just to be sure. Here is the comparison of all of my tests so far. I don't know if this will zoom. Yeah, I still see something. Here's my test for 10 days past the trigger shot, and it looks pretty white from here, but in person, there is a tiny faint line that did come up within the time frame. Here is the comparison again, days 1 through 10, with very faint lines the last couple of days. So we'll see, maybe 11 days past. I did have someone on Instagram tell me that 11 days past was when theirs was finally out, so we'll see. Okay guys, here is my test for 11 days past the trigger shot. There is a faint line in person, and if you have seen my Instagram while I'm doing all this filming, you will see that I was kind of baffled by that. People were starting to think maybe it wasn't the trigger, so I was getting hopeful. So I did take a first response, and it was negative. So I don't know if the Wanfo is just picking up the trigger shot still. Maybe it is more sensitive, or if it's an evap line or an indent line. I don't really know, but, and I can't zoom in anymore, but there is a line there. We'll see. I guess I will test again tomorrow, and we'll go from there. I'm kind of all over the place at the moment because I don't understand the line on this test at all. All right, that's it for today. Okay guys, here is the result. Here's what I think. This is the last test that I'm going to be taking as of now. This is 12 days past the trigger shot. There is still a very faint line on here. I'm sure that the camera will not pick it up. But anyway, there is a very faint line. And I am just assuming that since I'm using these Wanfo cheapies, that it is an evaporation line. So who knows? The trigger could have been out of my system at like 9 days, 8, 7, because all of those lines are very similar to what I'm still getting. I'm just surprised because I've used Wanfos in the past, in past cycles, not to test out the trigger, but to actually take a test. And I've gotten stark white. So these are not stark white. They are dried now, so I'm just assuming it's an evap line. So I'm going to call it negative. I'm going to say that if it were me, I would not be taking an early test. I will not be doing any early tests from now on because you can see I'm still getting lines at 12 days past. It could be the trigger. It could be evap. I don't know, but I think it's best to wait until you're a lot closer to that 14 DPO. So yeah, here is my little collection of everything. I even did some ovulation tests to try to see how the lines were. I did one first response yesterday, which was negative. I did a couple in the evening that had lines, and then I did one yesterday in just plain water to see if anything would show up on there, if I was just getting rapid, some crazy lines, and I didn't get a line there. So I don't know. I'm going to call this complete. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry this didn't really go as I had planned, but this at least shows you the progression that I got and when my line got really faint. So yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.